Howdy everybody, it's MxRheyRhey, and welcome back to another Abstract Friday. It is like the very start of the morning, and today I'm telling you, excuse me, it is very start of the morning. I'm still finishing my coffee. I just didn't want to be late for work. So today we'll be making an oil painting. Not as abstract as it will probably be, but I'm never one to stick to realism anyway. I just really wanted to oil paint. What I really wanted to do lately, what I've been really wanting to do lately, it's a lot of landscapes, because I'm horrible at drawing people. It's something I need to work on. But you don't need to see like the foundational practices of those. Those will be just for me to learn from. So what's gonna happen is in the background, like the background, like off video, off voiceover, I'm going to be trying to practice drawing faces and whatnot. I can still do animals. I can do really good landscapes because they don't require faces and complex shapes. But I still need my coffee to think. But that's what's going to be going down when it comes to like the complicated mediums like oil paint and acrylic. I'm not going to be doing faces for a while. I still also really want to work on skin tone. I know I kind of have it down with watercolor and maybe gouache. Gouache I'm going to have to like re-practice again because that's something I only do like once a month. But it's going to be a while. I have to work on learning to add white into my medium with oil and acrylic because that's what you have to do with skin tones. You don't have to do that with watercolor and gouache. Especially since I want like a darker skin tone, so I'm gonna either have to lay off the white or use a brown as a foundation for my colors, which some people have a problem with. I will have to test it out to see if I have a problem with it. But other than that, I'm rambling, so let's get to my landscape. So what you are seeing is the day before this intro. I did like a little foundational oil sketch. I am specifically using water-soluble oil paints because it is winter and I don't want to open my windows and doors just so I can use turpentine, or I specifically have mineral spirits. But the colors I am using as my foundational sketch are going to be orange and brown because my sketch, sort of like my oil sketch underneath is going to be like a sunset mountainscape. So I'm going to use orange because that seems logical to me, that like the base color that you'd mix some things with the sunset would be orange, and then brown because I'm going to be using trees. The colors that you saw me mix a little while ago are a cadmium hue yellow and red from Daler Rowney's Georgian water-mixable oil set. I think that's self-explanatory of what those are. And then to make the brown from that orange, all I used was the French ultramarine blue within this set too, to get like a darker mix, because when you mix when you mix blue and orange, you're essentially mixing all primary colors together. So instead of like a gray, you get like a brown, especially when you have more of a red-yellow mix. I find like when you mix oils together, you actually kind of learn more about the color theory process. It's simpler. Like you can really learn that with any kind of coloring technique, but when when most of the work in oil painting, especially as a beginner, is mixing your colors together, you really get a sense of what makes a cooler or warmer tone in your paintings. And there'll be things you learn, like orange is generally a warm color, but when you make it a more reddish tinted orange, it's warmer than like say a yellowish tinted orange. You get more tones that way, because technically going towards yellow is going towards blue. But yeah, so I'm not entirely sure if I'll be talking throughout this whole thing because I'm not too much learned, maybe is the word, I'm not sure. In oil painting itself, I am still very much like novice beginner level. But I can talk about like my thought process while I am making these. Like how I just explained, I used orange as a base coat because sunsets are orange, and that's what I'm going to be blending the most in here. And then browns because most things in nature are not actually like fully black. There's like it's like tinted, and I feel like brown is a very good tint to have for a mountain. And also like tree trunks are brown. Yeah, so that's mostly my process. Coming up next, when you start seeing like the next day and like the fuller range of colors that I use for this painting, I will like talk more there, let you know the colors I use, like my thought process going in it, and then I'm just gonna like chill and let you watch this and groove to the music so that you guys can just, I don't know, I don't usually like talking about things on my Abstract Fridays. So finally we are switching over to the next day. The colors that you can see on my palette, at the very far left is the brown mix that I used the day before. And then there is a dioxazine purple, which is not a part of the Daler-Rowney set, but it is still a water mixable oil. That one's from Winsor Newton. And then you still have the cadmium red hue, there is the cadmium yellow hue, the yellow ochre, the viridian green hue, the French ultramarine, and then you have a normal oil paint of white and black. I used those instead of like the water mixable white that I have with my set, mostly because it is more runnier, like it smooths out the oil paint, and also I had a feeling I was going to use a lot of white, maybe not so much black, so I didn't really need to do that much. But because these are mixable, and I still kind of did use a mineral spirit a bit to like thin out the blue and purple that you see on screen, to like thin it out and like get a fuller coverage so I didn't have to use all of my paint. Yeah, you can mix water soluble oil with normal oil paint. I guess I will have to wait on this painting for a while if anything changes, to see if anything cracks. But so far, like while I was painting, it just made the medium itself like more smooth to work with. It just flowed onto the canvas. I don't know, I did not actually. So what I did technically with the canvas itself is like a few months ago, because I just needed to get rid of some extra paint that I used for something else, I just covered this whole canvas with this really peachy pastel orange, and so I just like, you know what, I'll use this for something else, maybe something abstract, because you know it's a 16 by 20 canvas. But yeah, so what you see me do and what my concept with a lot of this is after the initial sketch portion where I want everything, my thought process is work from dark to light. So that's why you saw me do the sky first, and now like the shadow working on the mountains, and then eventually I'll just get brighter on later in the video. But what I like to do is I like to focus on 3 sort of concepts, and the first one I already said was work from dark to light. The next was work from the background to the foreground. That's sort of self-explanatory, especially kind of with oil paints. That way you kind of understand where your lighting situation, at least I can understand where my lighting situation is coming from. And that way, like, my background, if I needed to ever pause to take a break or something for my background to like set, I can at least like take a picture of that and study it to be like, okay, so this, because of this, the lighting and the scenery, I can put this in here and I'll use these colors. It's sort of just prepping you to figure out how the end result will be, like, because that's something you always have to think about. And then I did say 3. I can't remember my third now. I cannot remember. So if it really was only 2, I'm just gonna leave it there, but if I think of a third, I'll set it in later. But for now, I don't think I really need to do any more explaining. So just chill out, I guess, and enjoy the video. So that was my sunset mountain landscape painting. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to tell me how you feel about my techniques down in the comments, because I am always willing to learn. Like this video if you enjoy my paintings. Check out my channel if you like watercolors and any other kind of art mediums to begin with. And if you'd like, you can also check out my Patreon page. The link's in the description below. And if you want to get any of the materials that I used today, you can check out my Michaels affiliate link down in the description to see what they have there, because most, if all of my supplies today came from Michaels. And if you click on the link, I actually get like a 2% commission from anything that you purchase. It doesn't cost you guys anything more. It just helps me out with this channel and the supplies that I work with. So I would love to see you guys later, and have a wonderful day.